Hey man,
Hey, good morning.
how you
What
doing?
a what a fantastic place you got there.
Hey, thanks,
Great.
mate. Yeah, it's my little
Hey,
ring, you know.
yeah,
Cheers.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Very good to be in Australia. Thank you for having us.
Awesome, mate. It's fantastic to have you. Thanks for joining us, man. Um, if it's cool,
Absolutely, my pleasure.
yeah, beautiful. So I guess if it's cool, I wouldn't mind starting at the beginning. So three guys,
Absolutely.
yeah, cool. Three guys were Ivory Knights, and then you made the change and became Hammer King. What prompted that?
Interestingly, we had written a fourth album for the old band, and in a way, it was at least me who thought something is missing. In a way, some big songs, some big epic track, maybe for the ending, and I was kind of shamed and turned to the band and said, "Listen, guys, I have a very traditional idea, but it's so traditional, it's even weird. Shall we try it?" And they said, yeah, why not? And we started playing a song that would then be a Glory to the Hammer King. And once we started playing this very traditional song with the open chords and the big chorus, everybody was smiling. We thought, wow, we really hadn't had that much fun in years, honestly. And then we had another second song, the next rehearsal, and we jammed, recorded it gladly, and we jammed on another song that then would be I Am the Hammer King. It was there right from the beginning. We didn't even change a single thing. So we had like 3 songs in 2 rehearsals, and then we had 5 songs in 3 rehearsals, and so on. And we ended up having 10 songs that were very traditional. And we started talking about maybe releasing an album with only traditional music. And at the same time, we had this king popping up in the lyrics without it was by coincidence, really. And then we thought, what king could it be? And I think Dolph, the drummer, he said it could be the Hammer King. And we checked on the internet, and there was no band called Hammer King, which is a miracle because it's so obvious, actually. And we said, okay, then we changed everything. We start a brand new band. We're Hammer King now, and we claimed to be from Saint-Tropez in France at first, which was interesting just to distract the people a little bit. And yeah, I mean, it felt better than everything we'd done before. And we just went with the feeling, with the spirit that the band had, and gladly, I mean, things have changed over the course of 7 8 years, but the spirit has remained, gladly. So this must have been the thing that we were made for, actually.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you're saying you were jamming and kind of sharing ideas. Has it always been that way when you're writing songs, or does one or two of you kind of bring everything and
Mm.
the rest of them sort of work with that?
I mean, it has changed over the years slightly. We always say all music and lyrics are given by Their Majesty the Hammer King, which means that the king giveth the songs to us. So sometimes he channels the songs through me, sometimes through other people in the band. But if there's much time, we jam a lot. And if there is not that much time, and Kingdomonium has been created in a relatively short period of time,
Mm.
we bring individual parts to the table and then work on the parts together. And what we did last time, or this time, was that we had the demos already musically, and we were looking for vocals and for choirs and stuff. And I would jump back and forth between the computer and the microphone, and the guys would stand there and just do this. Okay, that's not good, that's better. And that was so helpful because it was like playing in front of an audience. If they initially like it, it's great. If they're more maybe reluctant, you can probably just throw it away because it doesn't work. And so we do a lot of work together, and we always say we're rehearsal room bitches because we really want to stay there all the time. And
Mm.
honestly, I did, when I was in the band from Ross the Boss, in Ross the Boss's band, I had prepared so many song ideas before he came to Germany because I thought I should be prepared in order to be professional. And whatever I brought up at home, I threw away, because once the 4 of us were together in the room, the spirit was a different one, the vibe was there, and we would just have better ideas. So I learned that it's absolutely okay to be lazy and really work your asses off in the moment when you get together. And that's basically what we do with Hammer King. As I'm hiking outside a lot, I sometimes have some inspiration when I'm walking, when I'm in nature. So I will record that and then I'll bring it to the table. But I use a cheap old cell phone to record and just play to the band on the guitar on the spur of the moment, and then the spirit is there if it's good, and if it's not good, we just throw it away.
Yeah, cool. So talking about the Hammer King, got their album design, you know, there's like a theme throughout and everything like that. How much input do you guys have into, you know, what goes on the cover? Or is there somebody else kind of taking care of that?
We have the wonderful Peter Schalai working for us, the man who's also doing work for Sabaton and Powerwolf. And he seems to be the perfect person for us because we only have very vague ideas about the cover. You know, Peter, it should be there should be chaos on the cover, and the four apocalypse riders, and don't forget the king. So that's what we told him, and then he comes up with the wonderful artwork. So whatever we want, he will do at least 20 times better than we can imagine. So that's a very, very nice way of working, actually, because we have the liberties to decide whatever we want. The same from Napalm, whatever we want, we're free to do. But gladly, we can work with people who are so much better than we are.
That's cool. So yeah, August 19, the new album Kingdomonium's out. I've watched the great video, The Invisible King, at the Rock Hars Festival. They look like fun. They look like a great show. Look, they're getting good, you know, crowd reaction and that kind of thing. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And all your like the makeup and the personas and that kind of thing. Was that something where you got together and said, you know, sort of chatted it out, like, let's do this, or are people kind of bringing their own ideas into their costuming?
When we started, we had the idea that we should not wear regular clothes, which we always did in our previous bands, just in order to make sure. I mean, we've been in a band before, and for ourselves, we wanted to have a difference so that we don't feel as if we're still the same band. We wanted to feel like a new band, so we decided that we would wear like royal regal robes, and we had some made for us. They were quite good. I mean, for the money that we could afford back in the day, and at least we felt different when we hit the stage. And then we started painting our nails black, and we scrapped that by now. But we had some very, very, very tiny bits of eyeliner around the eyes, and that was, for us coming from a small town, that was already a revolution. And then after a couple of months, after a couple of shows, we realized that the eye makeup, it was getting bigger all the time. And by the second album, we already had thick lines. On the third one, I had red attached to it. And then it was obvious that there was some sort of war paint coming up. When we did the fourth album, we again had custom-made outfits, the ones that we're wearing right now, which were very professional. And we changed the makeup, had some help from a professional makeup artist. And so at the moment, we're sticking to that. It's not going to change every album. Maybe there's tiny developments going on. So far, in the short time, we've kept everything. And we made sure that all of us look like a unit and still have an individual costume in a way. So I think the interesting thing is that once you put it on, I mean, I'm looking at Kiss in the background. They've taken things over the top quite early in the 70s. But it is truly like this. If you dress for stage, if you dress up like a persona, you feel different, and it's easier to get into the music mode. If you step on stage with the same clothes, it's not really. And at the same time, the market is very full at the moment. A band that looks at least slightly different will have an advantage from it.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, stepping back a little bit, 2021, you guys brought out the self-titled album on Napalm Records. I know other bands seem to, like, when they bring out a self-titled album, it's almost like they redefine themselves a little bit. Do you think that's what Hammer King was doing?
Totally. But it had three reasons that we did it. First of all of our albums are like small collections of stories to one topic. So the first one was about the kingdom, the second was about the wars, the third one was about the seafarings. And last year, when we looked at the songs, it was obvious that it's absolutely about the king himself. So we thought, what shall we do? Shall we call it the Hammer of the King or whatever? Then we liked the German title, Hammerschlag, because it means gigantic impact. And that was what we felt at the moment. But Napalm said, for all the people outside of Germany, this will not be very helpful to have an album with a German title. So we said, okay, I understand that. And then after a while, we said, okay, the songs are about the king. It would be interesting to call the album Hammer King. And Napalm said, well, as you are having a fresh start with us, we would like that. The same thing as Vicious Rumors did when they signed to the major label with a Blue Album. And we said, okay, so we have three reasons at the same time, just go for it. And the third is that we felt this is like redefining the band. We had a new sound man, Jakob Hansen, worked with us for the first time. Peter Schalai did the artwork for the first time. We had changed the lineup for the first time. And so it was like a fresh start, actually. The new label was the biggest change of all.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, back to the new album, Kingdomonium. So you've got Ross the Boss on Guardians of the Realm. You know, he played some of the best Manowar stuff of all time. You're saying you played with him before. Have you kept in touch since then? Yeah.
Yeah. Loosely. I mean, it is like it is. Sometimes you send birthday wishes, sometimes some Christmas stuff. But in the meantime, it's been 11 years since I have not been in this band. He's done a lot, we've done a lot, so you don't meet very often. Actually, we've never met in the last 11 years. There were 3 shows that we were set up to play with him, and all 3 got canceled for the obvious reasons last year. So we were in touch a bit more again, and he had started liking Hammer King posts, which is interesting. So he wrote something like, "This is the world of the Hammer King, and we only live in it." So that was very nice.
Yeah, that's great.
So once we had the song, usually on the demos, we have already totally carved in stone what solo Gino will play, what I will play, what will be a twin lead. And with Guardians of the Realm, strangely, there was no solo. And so in the end, I thought maybe Gino should do one because I think I had some more than him. Usually we try to have it 50-50. And then he said, I don't have an idea. And then Dolph, the drummer, said, it sounds like classic Ross the Boss material. As you're in touch with him, well, just ask him to play it. That's a good idea, actually. I sent him a mail, and 3 or 4 days later, we had 8 different solos for this song. And you can imagine the problem with Ross the Boss playing 8 solos is that you have 8 fantastic solos, and you have to choose. So we actually did a little bit of studio magic here. We used 2 takes and patched them together because the first half and the second half have these extremely expressive notes that we totally needed on the album. And it's incredible. I mean, he's a fantastic guy and he's a tremendous player.
Excellent. That's cool. You were saying earlier that the approach to this new album was a bit quicker than usual. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, in a way there is. I mean, of course, we couldn't play many shows, so we had time to work on music. And then Napalm would contact us, I think it was in late October, and said, we would like to make another album with you, which was fantastic for us. Could you think to release the album for the festivals next year? And we thought that's the best plan ever. If you want to release the album for the festival season, you have to deliver the master and the finished product in early March. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. I mean, early March, it's like 4 months if you even think of the studio time. And I looked at Dolph, who is always the skeptical guy in the band. I said, do you think we can do this? And he said, I think we will. I said, okay, if you believe in it, we just go for it. No thought anymore. Just go for it and do whatever you can. And looking back, it seems like it was a fantastic approach. If you think of Saxon, of Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, they all had one album every year, sometimes 2 albums in 1 year. So there was no time for thought. You just go with the spirit, go with the flow, and deliver whatever you got. And I think that's exactly what we did. It was stressful sometimes. We worked 3-4 days every week on the album. Sometimes we went to the room on Saturday. We went there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and we left at 2 o'clock in the morning. So that was interesting. And the studio was very stressful because we had a clear timetable. Usually when we work with Charles Greywolf in the studio, it's like, whatever time you need, you can have it. And this time it was clear, this is the deadline, we have to finish here. And that means, for me as the vocalist, that meant to sing 2 songs every day. That is quite some work. It worked, but I hardly remember a single thing. It was just like driving on the Autobahn. How fast can you go in Australia on the highways?
Like 100 k's an hour.
Oh, okay, that's not much. I mean, here we're allowed, some places we're allowed to go as fast as we want. So it's like the studio time was like driving on the Autobahn with 200 kilometers and just everything was rushing by. And it was fantastic. but it was impressive at the same time.
Yeah, wow. Cool. So yeah, I've only heard the single. What else can people look forward to on the album?
We have a video coming out in 4 hours, actually. That's the third video.
Oh,
It will
awesome.
be the title track, King Demonium. And so we have 3 video singles. 2 of them are darker, and one is Invisible King, which is the lighthearted side, actually the song that the women like. And which is a good thing because we like the women. And so actually we have the very melodic side as in Invisible King, and we have the slightly darker approach this time on the album, which is attached to the theme, to the chaotic pandemic scene, no, not pandemic, always pandemonium theme that we have on the album. And therefore, there will be more epic songs on the album. We have a gigantic closing track called Age of Horizon, which is 7 something with acoustic guitars, lots of twin lead guitars, triple lead guitars in one case. Even the bass is joining in. So it's a big song, a great classic ending track. And usually the same as always, we have very catchy songs. Most of them will be played live and should work on stages. It's slightly darker than the older albums. Maybe that's the impact that we just felt in the last 2 years. So it has an impact on everybody.
Yeah, of course. I imagine you got tours coming up and stuff. Is there any chance you'll make it to Western Australia at some point?
Oh, it would be fantastic. It would be so fantastic.
Yeah.
Touring is tricky at the moment because usually around 30% of the bands are on the road at the same time. And right now in 22, it's 95%. That's what I've been told. So it's extremely packed. So for us, it wasn't possible to get onto a proper tour. We're playing many single shows, and which is an advantage because usually single shows get canceled for COVID reasons. Somebody is ill, you get the show. So that's what happened with us this year a couple of times, because we are one of the bands who's always in the rehearsal room. So if you call us on the Thursday, we can totally play on Friday. It's no problem. We're always rehearsed. So we can play many shows, but it's going to be single shows. I hope that in 23, everything is slightly back to normal and there should be a chance to get regular tours. And I hope to play everywhere. We totally want to go to all the places, and Australia would be fantastic. I've never been there. But I heard it's tricky because there's a gigantic distance between the bigger markets. We played with Pegasus from Australia, and they told us the same thing. If we want to play at a different city, we have to travel 4 days, and usually we can't afford that. So
yeah, sure.
Nevertheless, we want to do that.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're saying your rehearsal, like, do you all sort of live in close vicinity to each other?
Yeah, relatively. I mean, Gunt, the new bass player, he lives the farthest from the rehearsal room. I think he goes like 1 hour 15. That's okay. And
that's right,
for me, 30 minutes. For the other 2 guys, it's even less. So we're practically from the same place, and we totally want to keep it that way. When Gunt joined the band, he was the one that we really wanted to have, and we knew he's a little bit far away. We asked him, will it be possible for you to come to the rehearsals? And he said, wow, maybe 2 a month. And then in the end, he was there every week and sometimes twice because he enjoys it. So in the end, it's very important for a band to play together. You sound better when you play more often. As much as you can prepare at home, it's always different when you're together.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess a couple of questions left. What do you guys what are you guys into, like, listening at the moment? What kind of other bands are you checking out?
Can only speak for myself, and I've got a quite big metal and rock collection, and over the years it has changed slightly. I mean, there's the classic bands that I will always follow. Whenever there's a new Saxon album, I'm a first day buyer. Same with Maiden, Priest, and so on. But getting into newer bands from the metal department has become tricky for me. I mean, in a way, it seems as if my time is not enough to listen to the old things. I mean, if you want to replay a certain band, I usually take the entire discography and play them start to finish, and that takes 2 weeks sometimes. So I think in the last years, I've started listening to more bands from outside of the metal spectrum. Pink Floyd at the moment, or Wishbone Ash. I'm a big fan of Rush as well. Genesis. I saw Genesis this year on their second farewell tour. And I mean, there's so much music from outside of the metal scene. In a way, I think I will always only perform metal. I will only write metal for the rest of my life. But in a way, when I listen to other bands, I feel fresh for metal. If I only listen to metal, it has started to feel limited in a way. I don't know why. Maybe it's just getting older. Many people experience the same thing.
Yeah, that's cool. I think too, it's good to listen to other stuff because you get those little like ideas and influences from everywhere. It's good, you know.
Absolutely, and then you transform them into metal. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And what's next for you guys? Like, obviously, you got the big album coming out in a couple of days. Some shows. What's coming up?
We're playing the Summer Breeze Festival on Saturday, which will be interesting because there's 40,000 people there, and we try to reach as many as possible. Actually, they've got different stages, so it's not going to be 40,000 people for us, of course, but it's a big chance to reach out to a new audience. We will have a homecoming show 2 weeks later, where we'll be able to play as many songs as we usually can't play because we're playing alone that night. That will be fantastic. There's club shows and single shows coming up in October and November. We try not to make a new album in 23. Let's see if it happens. And hopefully we can play many shows in 23. At the moment, we're in touch with new people from the booking department, and one of the guys looks very promising. And if he decides to work with us, I think there's some work coming up, and we're totally hoping for that.
Oh, excellent. Cool. Awesome. Well, look, everyone watching this at home, the link's below. Check out Kingdemonium. I'm very much looking forward to hearing the rest of it. And thanks so much for your time, man. It's been awesome. Cheers.
It was my pleasure. And as I always say, God bless the King. May the King bless you.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man. Have a good one.
See you on the road.
Yeah. See ya.